The night is dark. The air is cool and heavy with the scent of olive leaves and damp earth. After the Last Supper, Jesus rises. He knows what lies ahead. He leads his disciples across the Kidron Valley to the Garden of Olives. He speaks softly to his friends. Sit here while I pray. His heart is troubled. He tells them,
My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch.
Jesus reaches a place set apart and kneels. His body lowers until his face touches the ground. His hands press into the soil. His entire being trembles under an invisible burden. The weight upon him is not of this world. He rises, walks back toward those who accompanied him. He stands over them for a moment, then turns away. Again he kneels. Again his body shakes under the strain of what he carries. His breathing grows. A third time he withdraws. This time he does not rise quickly. He remains prostrate, his entire being poured out in surrender. The stillness of the garden holds him. In the distance, light appears. Footsteps approach. A group of men led by one who steps forward and places a hand on his shoulder. The others move in. Hands seize him. He does not resist. He allows himself to be taken, bound, and led away. Jesus is led forward under guard, weakened from the previous torment. His steps are unsteady, yet deliberate. There is bears on the stream, and the soldiers position him near the pillar, their hands rough and efficient. They begin binding his wrists with coarse rope, pulling his arms forward and securing them tightly against the stone. The posture stretches his body, exposing his back. The tension in his shoulders becomes visible as the rope tightens, leaving no room for movement. The soldiers retrieve their instruments, whips reinforced with cords and fragments designed to tear. The first strike lands. Jesus' body absorbs each strike. His knees weaken slightly, but the ropes hold him upright. His breathing becomes more labored. Blood begins to gather and run down, tracing.
They approach him again, this time to untie the ropes. The bindings are loosened, and his arms fall slightly forward, no longer held rigid by the pillar. His body struggles to support itself as the tension is released.
Jesus was brought inside under guard, and the surrounding soldiers gathered with mocking curiosity, filling the chamber with their presence as if they meant to turn judgment into spectacle. The soldiers watched him with a rough, amused indifference, and their laughter rose and fell like waves in a cruel hall. A scarlet crown of thorns was placed upon his head. The thorns sank into flesh, and blood began to appear where pressure met skin. The crown sat like a reed was placed in his hand, made to serve as a false scepter. They renewed mockery. They knelt in false homage, rising and kneeling in turns as if performing a blasphemous pageant. Their gestures were theatrical, their cruelty sharpened by laughter and the pleasure of inflicting shame. He was led away from the chamber. Behind him remained the echo of laughter, a crown that was meant to mock but reveal a deeper kingship.
Zoned Roman guard, already weakened from the scourging and the crowning with thorns, the rough wood of the cross is set upon him, and he receives it without resistance, lowering his body beneath its weight.
The procession begins through the narrow streets, with soldiers keeping order and pushing the crowd back. Jesus moves slowly, staggering under the beam, each step measured and heavy.
The road grows harsher, and the weight of the cross forces him into another stumble. The beam scrapes the ground, then rises again as he is pressed forward.
Simon of Cyrene is drawn into the procession and compelled to help carry the cross. The burden shifts between them, easing but not removing the suffering, as the two men walk together.
The women of Jerusalem appear among the crowd, their mourning facing the procession of sorrow, while soldiers are restrained. Jesus continues forward through the heat and dust.
The hill of execution comes into view, and the atmosphere grows darker and more solemn. The soldiers guide the condemned closer to the summit, where the instruments of death await.
Jesus.
The procession reaches Golgotha, and the cross is brought to its final place. Jesus stands at the threshold of the crucifixion site.
Of the crossbeam was placed upon his shoulders, and the burden was greater than ordinary man could bear. The row and upward toward Golgotha was skulders am zempono da ich movements myrtha.
At the hill, the cross was raised upright, and the force of it sent pain through his torn flesh as he was lifted above the ground, suspended between earth and sky. The sign of... Around the cross, the soldiers divided his garments and continued their indifferent work, while the people looked on with fear, contempt, or silent sorrow. His mother remained close, sharing in the sorrow that pierced the heart. The beloved disciple stood near her, witnessing the agony of the son he had followed. As noon arrived, a deep darkness spread over the land. The light of day was swallowed by shadow, and the world seemed to hold its breath. The hill, the city, and the people below.
Final hour, the suffering reached completion. Jesus surrendered his life. His head bowed, and the body that had carried so much pain became still. The cross stood in the darkened air as a witness to both sorrow and triumph. Then the wounded body was taken down with reverence. The place of execution had become the place where salvation had been written into history.
The Sabbath was approaching, so the body was laid to rest in a new burial place, rolled before the entrance, and silence covered the garden.